Hey beautiful, you made it. It's day 5. Day 5 of the challenge. You made it all the way to the end. I am so impressed and glad that you've made it this far. On today's video, we are tying up all those loose ends to make sure that your action file is going to work for you like magic, because really it's the brains of all of your active papers. So it really needs to run smoothly once you get in the habit of it. Now, I know at first it might be a little bit clunky as you build the habits, so forgive yourself if it does not go super smoothly at first. But today we will be talking about how to feel confident handling your action file, especially those to-do and to-pay folders, because those are the important ones. We'll also talk about having a system so you don't forget to check your to-do and to-pay. We'll talk about creating the new habits around your action file, and I'm also going to give you a bonus challenge task of creating your own life binder this weekend. Now, if you do want to get the Spark Life Binder so that it's created for you and you can just download it, stick it into a binder, and you're ready to go, there's a link in the description of this video, and you can just click on that link and get it now. But that's for my weekend challenge for you. One last task, and I promise you, once you have a binder set up, you will feel so much more peace of mind and just in control. It's going to change basically everything that you think about your paper system. It's amazing how it's just a mental thing. So that's why I'm challenging you for this weekend as well. I know, I'm mean. I had to add on that extra task. But let's dive right into today's topic, which is making sure that your action file is going to work like clockwork for you and building those habits. So I mentioned having the confidence in your to-do and to-pay folders. Just make sure when you're adding things to the to-do or the to-pay folder, make sure that they go in there if there's something you have to act on before a certain deadline that's not just to read it or enter it, scan it, or file it. So anything that is a higher action item, like you have to RSVP for something, you have to pay something, you have to fill something out, make sure it actually makes it into your to-do or to-pay folder. Because if it doesn't make it in the folder, then you will not have that reminder and it could easily get lost. Now, I know it can be a little bit scary thinking about it being out of sight in your folder. What if you forget to check it? So here are some ways to make sure that you remember to check your to-do and your to-pay folders. First off, if you need the visual cue that there's something in there, feel free. You can get either a clear hanging file folder so you can see through the front that there's a paper in there, and that way you know there's something to do. Or you can take a binder clip and clip any of your to-dos to the front until you get used to that. Or you can even, on the wall near wherever you place your action file, you can put a clear hanging folder to see your papers that are in there. They sell some, I think they're called waterfall file holders or cascading file holders. It's a hard plastic and they're kind of a horizontal and they go against the wall so you can slide papers in. They sell on Amazon some clear ones, and that's a great one to just put right over the action file so you can put all of your to-dos right in there, not even in a folder. So you can just see that there's some stuff to do, those papers. So that's great for the out of sight, out of mind types who are afraid that you might forget. Now, setting reminders is another important part as you set up the habit though, because you're not going to automatically remember to check this probably. Putting your action file in a highly visible place, especially along the walkways, and making a habit of whenever you bring in papers, putting it in the action file will help you remember your to-dos. That's important because that becomes sort of a daily ritual, and that's a reminder that there's stuff in there. But also, in addition to that, you might want to add some reminders to your phone. You might want to put some Post-it notes in places where you're bound to find it. Whatever works for you. I know for me, a lot of times I am the personality type where if it's on the calendar, it does not necessarily mean it will be done at that time. So I'm not a super structured calendar person. I instead use the reminders on my phone because when the reminder pops up, I can hit snooze until I'm at a point where I can take care of it. But it's going to keep reminding me every hour until I do it, which is a good thing. If you are really good at checking your calendar and sticking to what you plan though, then just setting an event in your calendar. Maybe it's every Saturday morning if you have time on Saturday mornings, or maybe it's every Monday evening, whatever it is for you. When you are most likely to have time, just set up a recurring event. If you've got a paper calendar, write it on every Saturday morning. If you've got a digital calendar, do it once and then set it to be recurring. So it'll just automatically fill in for every Saturday, and then you'll remember to check it. And if you can't check it at that time, you can always then set yourself a reminder for whatever time that you can check it, or set a different calendar event for later that weekend. But at least it's going to give you something once a week to remind you to check. And then when you check it, you don't have to do everything in the folders. Just because you're checking it does not mean that you're completing all the tasks, because that can be daunting. And when the reminder pops up or you see the event, you might think, I don't have an hour or two to do all of that, and you'll put it off. But if you're just checking it, that just means that you're looking through it and seeing what's in there. And then anything that's very active that has to be done that week, if you've got a deadline coming up for something, feel free, pull it out of the folder, put it right in front of your action file or on top of your purse or wherever you will remember to do it like really soon. So checking it does not mean completing all of it. Checking just means you're going through, you're making sure that there's nothing that has to be done right now. And if it does need to be done, then you're setting an appointment to do it, putting it next to your purse or somewhere highly visible so you won't forget it. You're just pulling it out of that folder to make sure it gets done. But creating these habits around it, it'll take a little bit of time, and that's probably the first major habit that I want you to work on. Just getting the papers in the action file when you get home, as soon as they come in. If you have a family, getting them to try to put it in the action file, or at least put it on top of the action file, so that way you can quickly sort it when you see that there's papers on there. And then checking that to do and to pay folder. So that's really the main habits that I want you to work on. The rest, add on habits once you have got that down to a science and it's brainless, because it will become brainless. If you keep doing it and whenever you fall off the wagon, you just get back on and restart, then after a while you won't even think about it. It's just going to become automatic. You see the file, it's a Saturday morning, you grab it, you just look through really quick, you pull out the papers, you put them in the usual place, and then you complete them. It's amazing how once it does start to become like clockwork, it's such a relief. And then you can add on the next task. So creating this new habit around the action file, whenever you do fall off the horse or wagon, that's the word, right? Fall off the wagon. Whenever you do fall off the wagon, just hop back on, forgive yourself. It's okay, but then restart. Instead of punishing yourself and giving up and saying it doesn't work, just restart and say, oops. Because a lot of times we can feel defeated and then just give up altogether, but that's not the point. Keep going, keep restarting, and you will eventually do it brainlessly, and it's just going to run without you having to think about it. And then I mentioned that the other task for this weekend is to start your binder. It does not have to be a Spark-Life binder, but I want you to start a binder for yourself with the important information, just because it is so important to have these papers at your fingertips. So whether it's a binder, you can also start just a section in your file drawer if that's what you want. However you're going to do it, start putting together your important papers so that way they are at your fingertips, you know right where they are, you can grab them in an emergency. If you do want to get the Spark-Life binder, there's whenever there's a bonus, right now there's a bonus, it is listed on that page. So in the description, click the link for the Spark-Life binder and you can see if you have made it within the first 50 people for that bonus. And right now the bonus is to get a free registration to the Ultimate Papers Workshop, which we will go in depth into your organizing personality type, how to use that to stay organized better and set up systems that work for you, and go really in depth into those files that live in that archive, in that file drawer from your to file folder. And I even go as far as to give you specific labels that you should label all of your folders and structure them for each personality type. Like that's how in depth we go. We also go in depth on what you should shred versus recycle, and how long you should keep important papers and which type of papers to keep for how long. Like everything that I could think of that you would need to know is in that workshop. So One of the first 50 people to buy the Spark Life Binder, you will get free registration to that workshop. And if you just want the workshop, then I've got a link in the description as well. So read through the description, click the links, let me know in the comments how you're doing and what your plans are for this weekend. Let me see your action files. If you're stuck on anything, let me know because I'm here to support you and I will be checking the group throughout the weekend. So just because the challenge is officially over at the end of the day today does not mean that I'm going away. So post your questions, post your progress, anything you want to. I'm in the group this weekend and I will be watching and commenting and cheering you on. Thank you so much for everything this week. You've been absolutely fantastic and I absolutely love you. I will see you over in the group. I love you.